A woman can get her period and still be infertile, right? I am infertile and still had a period. My problem was with my ovaries, but my uterus still functioned just fine. I had PCOS, and my ovaries were scarred over, meaning my eggs couldn't release from the ovary. I probably could have carried surrogate, possibly even with my own eggs if they had been surgically extracted, but I chose to have a hysterectomy in 2021. It felt like such a cruel joke to have a period accompanied by debilitating cramps every month, like a regular reminder that the whole system was broken. He's an idiot. From personal experience, and diagnosed by a reproductive endocrinologist, yes, a woman can be infertile while still experiencing regular periods. Yes, there are many reasons for failure to conceive or even fertilized eggs not sticking. Is it possible for a woman to never get her period? Yes, but it is in conjunction with another medical issue and is not healthy unless parts have been removed. Yeah, your eggs are like your dance partner. You can do your dance, have a period without a dance partner. There are lots of potential causes of infertility, and only some of them would also stop regular periods happening. If, for example, the fallopian tubes were damage blocked, that could mean eggs wouldn't get through, but the rest of the system would still follow the normal cycle of growing, then shedding the lining of the uterus. It's also possible to never get a period. Amenorrhea is the general condition of not menstruating, which divides into primary amenorrhea, someone who hasn't had a period by age 15, and secondary amenorrhea, someone who misses several consecutive periods despite having had them before. I'm seeing varied estimates for the prevalence of primary amenorrhea, but they generally seem to place it on the order of 0.1, maybe a bit more, maybe less. Usually it would be a symptom of some condition affecting hormone levels or reproductive anatomy. Somewhere around 33% of infertile couples have no known reason for infertility. I've been trying for 4 years, but knew that this experience was in my future because there's some sort of mystery genetic component we haven't located yet. None of the women in my family are capable of conceiving without IVF and fertility treatments to encourage the sticking of the egg. We all have great ovary supply, no issues with our uteruses, we pass all our fertility tests with flying colors. Yep, I have a 99 infertility stat as I have hostile mucus. Great band name. Everything else looks and works the same, there's no other impacts. I still used birth control my entire adult life until I had my tubes removed though. Don't ever listen to mansplaining. Ever. Yes, she can still get her period and be infertile. Never getting a period is also possible, rare but possible. A woman who gets her tubes tied for voluntary sterilization will continue to have periods. Ian Ed. Just a married guy to a woman who's been through a lot. Woman never gets period? Likely, but not definitely infertile, assuming we aren't discussing a prepubescent, ID expect postmenopausal, post-hysterectomy, or similar. Other medical conditions, hormone balances, or medications may strongly delay impact periods without ruling out fertility. Woman is infertile but has periods? Definitely possible. Issues with the ovaries, the fallopian tubes, the uterus or uterine lining can all potentially reduce the chances of successful pregnancy by quite a lot, and uterine issues can introduce risks of complication during pregnancy even if she succeeds in getting pregnant. Then there's the healthy fertile scenario, of course. Yes, of course. Infertile does not mean sterile. Infertile means it's difficult to get pregnant. Sterile means something has been altered and it is impossible to get pregnant, i.e. tubes tied. Yes, a lot of women who struggle with infertility do get their periods. Some women don't, because their uterus is underdeveloped or it's simply not there anymore. Then they are infertile and do not get their period. Well, he needs to go back to school. It's absolutely stupid. A man explaining how a woman's body works. If I had $1 for every time, heck, a dime for every time, I'd be a billionaire. Yes. For the record, the following is what the guy said in his comment. This is from the subreddit for the video game Dragon Age, where I suggested it would be impossible to prove a young woman could know she was infertile before marriage. It's simple. If she's never had her menarche, that marks her as infertile, and the only way she would have missed that by the time of her wedding is if she was clinically stupid. Such an infertile royal consort is automatically guilty of treason, since by being married to the monarch said consort prevents the existence of legitimate royal heirs, thus ending a dynasty. I had a salpingectomy, so no eggs will show up in my uterus, still get my damn period every month. BTW, did you know a uterine ablation can fail? 'Cause mine did. I have normal function ovaries and uterus. I get monthly periods and yet am infertile. Doctors can't find a cause. This is why men shouldn't be making laws about women's reproductive choices. Yes, plenty of ways for it to go bad. What we can say is that if a woman is not having her period and general failure to have it for a while, then it is more likely something is going wrong and she is infertile. Yes, I have PCOS, and until I got an IUD my periods always came. Basically the hormones were telling my uterus to do its thing, and it did. My ovaries just never released eggs. My cycle came like clockwork, but was longer than it should be, 35 days. But after imaging tests, and even medicine to help me ovulate, I still never ovulated. Follicles didn't grow and mature. Nothing. Endometriosis. The complete absence of a period is definitely not a good sign for fertility, but most infertile women still menstruate. A woman with blocked fallopian tubes will still likely have a regular cycle, for example. I'm infertile, I can't get pregnant without using IVF, and I still get periods. So every month hopefully some of us do not have a regular cycle. The uterus grows a lining. The innermost layer of tissue in the uterus thickens, basically preparing to become a placenta in the event of pregnancy. When pregnancy doesn't happen, the uterus sheds this blood-rich tissue so it can start over. That's what a period is. This is part of the menstruation-ovulation hormone cycle. But it happens regardless of whether or not there are any eggs present. What happens in the ovaries is none of the uterus business, basically. It happens whether or not a person is fertile. Also, isn't a period just where the lining of the uterus sheds and that's what causes the bleeding for periods? If you didn't have ovaries or couldn't properly produce an egg, you would still have a period because it's just the lining of the uterus shedding. Men are stupid. That's like saying that if a car doesn't run it must have never had wheels. Yes, she can even ovulate and be infertile. Also, not every time does a woman bleed vaginally does she ovulate. Fertility can be screwed on many ways to forming to become a fetus. Even after conception, if the zygote doesn't have a suitable place to implant, it will die. And that also is what contributes to infertility in some cases.